hyperbole. Namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo. Hi, friends. Namo myoho renge kyo. So glad you're here. Thank you for your practice. I hope this finds you in good health and secure. Oh, please take a moment and like and subscribe. Both of those, very bodhisattva. They help expand our Sangha. They help the algorithms of YouTube bring us higher in the searches for people who are looking for this kind of resource to help them practice. So thank you for taking a moment to do that. Kalpa, K-A-L-P-A. We read that word a whole bunch in Buddhism, in translations, what have you, in different sutras. Why do we use this word? What does it mean to us specifically as modern Buddhists, right? Practicing Nichiren's enlightenment of Shakyamuni's culminating teachings of the Lotus Sutra. Lotus Sutra Buddhism, our practice. How does Kalpa figure into our knowledge base of what is Buddhism? Well, interestingly enough, as a word, as a term, not very useful in our daily practice and understanding of Buddhism, except that understanding and at least knowing about what Shakyamuni was using the word kalpa for helps establish once again this core idea about time and our experience of life being an experience of time-space being an experience in our sentient minds that we use to understand, to communicate with in our own minds, our experience of this physical realm. Because if you look in science for a definition of time or space, you will find that in this modern world, it doesn't truly exist as a thing itself. And so in that very idea of what is time and space is a very curious and very interesting resonance with Buddha's discussion of how our minds work, how samsara differs from clarity, Buddha-ness, the essential truth of all phenomena, undisguised, as it were. So let's get into it. It's a noun. I didn't cite my source here, but you can go all over the internet and find this. One definition is it's a Hindu chronology. Kalpa, a long history of usage well before Buddhism. And this is true of many words in Buddhism, right? I've said it before. Shakyamuni appropriated words. Appropriated might not be the right term, but he recognized he was talking to a people's wherever Buddhism is taught, and this Shakyamuni also said, should be taught in the local, regional language, dialect. Because you're trying to get the people you're talking to come to this realization, come to this idea, different than what they're accustomed to experiencing, but using the language they're familiar with, leading them into insights for themselves, into the insights of Buddhism. So kalpa, a very common term of the day, Hindu chronology. In Hindu chronology, the kalpa is used as a day of Brahma, a period of 4,320,000,000 years. Where that number comes from, any number of sources. Again, the number isn't so important, except that it's huge, right? It's equivalent to 1,000 great ages, or Mahayuga, or an eon, all these numbers, trying to describe a time period that's unmanageable in our minds, unfathomable, right? Second meaning, almost identical, one of the Brahmanic eons, a little more specific maybe, a period of 4,320,000,000 years. At the end of each Kalpa, the world is annihilated. So this concept of the world being born, right, abiding and decaying, and eventually nothing, dissolved, annihilation, extinction. It's a theme that's been around since caveman looked out at the sun going down at night and worried that it wouldn't come back, right? This is an old stigma of human samsaric understanding, right? Third period. A kalpa is a long period of time, no duh, an eon, in Hindu and Buddhist cosmology. Generally between the creation and recreation of a world or universe. This is a little bit more modern, yeah? The etymology of kalpa is a Sanskrit word, which I can't read, a formation or creation. Oh, isn't that interesting? So, as often quoted, Picasso said, every act of creation is first an act of destruction. There's this cycle again, right? In this context means a long period of time, an eon, related to the lifetime of the universe. Parenthetical, creation. So they're making an equation here saying that creation is the universe. Isn't that what I always say? Life is the universe, not you and I. We're just an instantiation within life, right? There's no separation between you, I, and the universe. We're all made of the same stuff. Ultimately, energy in various potentials instantiated, right? Fourth, and I think I put this in here, you may also be familiar with the often stated granules of sand of the Ganges River, right? And drop one granule for every world system. What's a world system? Well, we just read. It's an entire universe. So maybe the entire universe at that time was the solar system. For scientists, it was as well, until pretty recent history. It wasn't until the modern times here in the last couple hundred years, 150, I don't remember when, but science only recently in historical time figured out that the universe is well beyond just our galaxy. We used to think that was the whole universe. Oh my goodness. So wrong. Yeah. So it's not important. What's important is our perception of time and space. So when we use the word Kalpa, we're just talking about an unfathomable, incalculable reality, and that's its usefulness. To break our samsaric mind of ownership of a, right? Because if you know the exact limit of the universe, then you kind of own it. The universe, I know it. Like Doug Adams would say, it's 42. That's the answer. It's so ridiculous. But so there are terms like this in Buddhism because Shakyamuni was trying to explore the capacity for the mind to not know. In other words, knowledge as identified, thingified, owned, possessed. Right? Let your mind wander into possibility, or as we often say, potential. There's no parameters to potential. There's only potential, right? So what else did I write here? Granules of sand drop traveling through the universe, one system, blah, 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 crumbling worlds. Then you pick that up and keep going. These are the hyperbole of stories meant to shake loose our stubborn ideas of samsaric experience and duration. Right? Remember the analogy I have at the back of the book about the picket fence? Anyway. 5, see also time. Because if you see the description of time in here, you'll get a clue from a different perspective of what units of time are. So, as useful to Mahayana Buddhism, especially the ultimate teachings of the Lotus Sutra, a kalpa is a simple device to force our minds to relinquish our attachment of time as a measure of possibility, and instead move in favor of a moment-to-moment experience of potential unencumbered by such parameters. For instance, in the analogy of waiting for a friend either sitting 5 minutes on a bench or instead on a picket fence, there's that analogy in the back of the book. You can read it. The discomfort or comfort experience is not related to the 5 minutes of time. That's normally how we look at it. Yeah, but if you sat on the picket fence for just a few seconds instead of 5 minutes and your friend was, no. That's not the point of the analogy. The point is that time is incredibly fluid. It's relational to what? Our perception, the way we choose to experience time, either comfortably on a bench or sitting on a pointy picket fence. Time changes its what? We're still experiencing duration. Why does one seem so much faster than the other? We gave it a mark, 5 minutes, right? We measured it, but we don't experience it the same. And this is the whole point. The point of this analogy is that words and terms like kalpa are tools to help us explore the limitations and opportunities of our mind to perceive insights that may lend confidence to our practice of Buddhism. Right? Remember, you may have gone through this recently. It doesn't matter how old, but when we're kids, everything seems like the end of the world. Everything in the moment we're experience it seems cataclysmic or brilliant and rapturous. But in no time at all, it's past and things change. And hell, we forget about it, right? Time heals all. We have so much rhetoric around time. And it proves that time is kind of irrelevant. Life is happening in this moment and into the next. The rest of it is imagination. I'm not saying it's not real. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying, please. The past had its effect, had its influence, inculcated into your life, and whenever you recall it, you relive it and reinvestigate those influences. But that's happening now. That's not the past causing that. It's you now rethinking past. And you can't, because the past is the past. You can't think the way you did in the past. You can't experience the way you did in the past. All you can do is look upon it and decipher it anew and make decisions about it now that you carry into the next moment. This is why I talk about influence. Everything is malleable, except for this moment now. And even this moment now is malleable when we take this moment and single-mindedly, as we move into the next moment, which we're always doing because we're momentum, right? Remember Max Planck? In a moment, right? Trillions of moment in a single second. How can you decipher that in your mind? There's no need. The point is your momentum is vastly faster, more complex and nuanced than you're able to think with your sentient mind. So you simply have to have confidence that what you can do, it's like, let me give you an analogy to simplify this. You ever been in a canoe or a kayak, some kind of small boat? Or even surfing or a boogie board? I'm just wanting to get you to perceive moving through water. I don't care if it's fast or slow. Now, try to account for every single atom of hydrogen, oxygen, and whatever else might be in the water under and around your boat or your flotation device. And try to calculate how many of those are moving around and changing position in relation to your going through and above all of it. Can you do that? You can imagine it, perhaps, but you can't account for every single atom, can you? You can just make general statements about unfathomable numbers of them. And you know, without a doubt, that if you stick your hand in the water, or an oar in the water, or manipulate the direction of your kayak, that you will affect, you will influence which atoms you are then moving through, into and beyond, as you direct your kayak. Right? Pretty simple analogy. Well, you and your kayak are your life, your mind, moving through and above the water. And your moment to moment, to moment to moment to moment to moment thoughts, karmic instantiations, realms that you're going through, those are those atoms. Can you pick one out and decide what to do with it? Come on. What you can do is use your oar of daimoku and direct your kayak right now. You can't do anything about those hydrogen and oxygen atoms 500 yards behind you. You're done. That's done. What you can do is affect what's happening now. And the direction, the motion, the momentum into the next. That's it. That's what you can do. And that's what you can fully experience. Instead of remember that branch, where are you right now? Yeah? Okay, let's go on. Time and space are sentient constructs of the mind to assist us in navigating samsaric existence. That's why we do that. It's not a flaw. It's the way we physically navigate our samsaric existence, right? Time and space are measures of our experience rather than indelible, real, quote unquote, things. Right? You can't buy time. You can't build space. We say things like that, but truthfully, what we do is within these two constructs of being, quote unquote. Our friend Einstein knew this when he spoke of the curvature of space-time. Isn't that interesting? If space and time were an actual indelible thing, what does curving it mean? Right? In relativity, space-time is relative to your point of view. It changes with different factors like the pressure of gravity. The speed at which you're moving may be the speed of thought. In a real sense, our experience of space-time is as unique as we are individuals and constantly varied throughout each moment to moment of our experience of life, just like the picket fence analogy. So all of that is to say, understand the abstract concept of words like Kalpa and the way they're used to help us develop or embrace our totality of what Buddhism is teaching us to do. Again, we don't leave anything behind. We just perceive things differently. In fact, thank you, John. I know you like to be anonymous, but how many Johns are there in the world? Suggested in addition to the book, thank you so much, life condition. A term we use all the time. But do we really know what we're saying when we say that? Darn good addition. So I just finished writing that this morning. I may edit it. But yeah, I'll be putting it up on the ebook page. But we talk about this idea of time and the way Buddhism kind of turns samsara on its head. Right? I don't want to get into it now because that wouldn't be fair. So Kalpa, that's the talk for today. I hope I've demystified that in some way. I may have brought up more questions for you, and if that's the case, please let me know in the comments, yes? Or email me directly, tlksylvain@gmail.com. I read everything, and I appreciate your engagement, mostly your practice. So keep it strong, like and subscribe. If the ebooks are helpful, please, they help this effort of this resource tremendously. Those of you who are donating through PayPal or Patreon, where you can get all of these videos as well. Talk about bodhisattva behavior. Thank you. And I will see you in the next one, all right? Take care of your health. Be kind. Keep your practice strong. Savor it. It's so amazing. Just like you should savor your life, moment to moment, yeah? All right. Again, take care. Bye for now.